Hi Libra, welcome to your November 2018 love reading. It's Rena here. Happy birthday. I'm recording this in early October, so it's your birthday. Might even be your exact birthday when you hear this. So that would be nice. Oh, it's funny. It's like the last couple of months I've been getting a lot of major arcana cards, not just with one or two signs, with a lot of signs. So it makes me think that even though these are general readings, that a lot of people are going through a lot of change, specifically in this time frame. And it's possible that because of all of the retrogrades, that well, I shouldn't say just the retrogrades. Actually, I meant to say the eclipses. That has really kind of shifted things. And by the way, speaking of retrogrades, your ruler Venus in November goes retrograde in Scorpio, which is the sign that comes after you. So it's going to start in your second house and then go back into the first. How I think this is going to affect you is more about it. Well, for some of you, it may be internal, where it's dealing with issues of self-esteem. For some, it could have something to do with money. So if for any reason your money situation isn't as flowing as it normally is, just realize it's because of of this situation. And that's one of the best uses of astrology, because if you're wandering through life and you don't know about astrology and all of a sudden you're feeling like your money situation's like not doing so hot, you might just panic and go, oh my God, it's never going to get better. And if you know about it astrologically, you're like, oh cool, Venus is going to go direct on November 16th, so it's just going to be a matter of time. It's just this too shall pass. And you even have the time frame. But in Venus retrograde, you might even hear from somebody from the past. I mean, that could be true of all the signs. But in your case, with Venus retrograde in the second house into the first house, this may be something about how you present yourself to others in terms of your self-esteem. So with Libra, the emphasis on looks, on the outer appearance, which the first house represents when it goes back into your sign, is really front and center. And one of the things that, as somebody who's also ruled by Venus, because my rising sign is Taurus, one of the things that I had to learn is that I couldn't rest on those laurels for long, in terms of being able to really, have the kind of life that I wanted. I think it's kind of like a cheap ploy in a way, when you use your looks to get what you want, because in the first place, you may not attract someone that is really, there for you and who has your best interests at heart. And also, it's very shallow, and it tends not to be about who you really are. So it's always best to cultivate a lot of talent. And in Libra's case, you have a lot of intelligence. I mean, kind of innate intelligence, whether or not you have gone to college or anything like that. So learning how to find out what your talents are and help other people is a lot more fulfilling than being told that you're beautiful. And also you know, if somebody values you for one of your talents, that's going to be a lot more fulfilling to you than somebody saying, oh, you're beautiful. A man, if you're a woman, and especially if it's the opposite sex, because that tends to be, men tend to be visual, and they're the ones that are going to be smitten by you because of your looks. Do you want to be that person that always has to obsess about your looks? And so you're going to be thinking about that and thinking about how much of your self-esteem is based on how you look, and maybe wanting to change some of that. So hopefully, if that rings true for you, that you can make it happen. Speaking of making things happen, I mean, this is the heart of the matter, and this is the Magician card. So this is about self-empowerment. And I wish I could remember how to say that. Starting where you are with what you have. Now, how come I never can say this right? Doing what you can with what you have where you are. Okay? And Libra is a sign, because maybe it's ruled by Venus, that it likes luxury. You like nice things. And nice things tend to be expensive, don't they? So if you have any ideas of what to do in life, you tend to think, oh, I can't do this unless I have X, Y, and Z. Now, in terms of relationships, this is more of the sense of the idea of self-empowerment in general, of not being dependent on another person and needing a relationship, you know? Some Libra people might be serial monogamists. They go from one relationship to the other. They want the relationship. They may not want to be with multiple people, but they still feel strange without a relationship. And that, with the Magician, I think of somebody who is self-empowered enough to hold out for the right person, to maybe not be in a relationship unless they really have met somebody that catches their fancy. But you know that there are some people out there that are like, I have to have a relationship. They might not say those words to themselves, but they are taking actions that pretty much imply it. So what I would say about this is to look at how you view relationships. Are they there to enhance your life, or are they there to define your life? And the other thing too is this card connects to Gemini, which is another air sign. So that might be somebody who is in your life or is about to enter your life. And yeah, I mean, that could be a very interesting matchup for you, for sure. At the base of this reading that's informing all of this is the Justice card. The Justice card can literally be that you have left a marriage. And I was just doing Scorpio's reading, and I got something along the same lines, or I felt like that they had left a relationship. I think there's a lot of breakups too that are going on. And one of the things you can glean from that is that it means that people are not feeling that sense of obligation to continue in something that doesn't make them happy. And speaking of that, we have this card of not being happy. I have to say too, in terms of people, that the Justice card could refer to a Libra person. So, I mean, is it possible that Libras date other Libras? That's got to be an interesting matchup. I was going to say the the hair care products in the bathroom must take up multiple shelves. But with the challenge position being the Four of Cups, there could be a situation where someone likes you and you're just like, whatever. The hand from the clouds representing, you know, the universe giving you love and you being indifferent because it's not what you want. You didn't, you know, and this is in the challenge position, so it could mean that you're simply not attracted to people that like you. Isn't that a strange thing? In other words, you know, some people are attracted to elusive people. If the magician represents someone that you are attracted to, that's like a Gemini. Gemini doesn't get more elusive than a Gemini person. Think of Mercury, you know, the ruler that is connected to the magician card, the ruler of Gemini. You can't hold it. You can't hold a Gemini person. The only way you can hold a Gemini person is through their mind, through interest. You have to keep their interest, or they may just like check out. And so you may be interested in somebody who is not that into you. That could be that other person, that Four of Cups. Or you could be in this unfortunate pattern of being taken by people who are hard to get, and indifferent to those people who are freely offering their love. You may just feel like if somebody likes you, that automatically that is suspect. Again, reviewing your self-esteem during this Venus retrograde. That is certainly a possible sign of somebody who doesn't love themselves enough, that they question anybody who would love them. Like that saying, I think it was Groucho Marx, who was a Libra. Somebody, I thought it was Woody Allen, but I guess he was quoting Groucho, and Groucho was a Libra. And Groucho said, I wouldn't want to be a member of a club, or I wouldn't want to be in a club that would have me as a member. So, Libra, you know, do you have that philosophy? And by the way, a person who really loved Groucho Marx was John Lennon, who is a Libra. So, Libra Admiration Society. Just having a sip of OJ. Okay. Higher message. Knight of Pentacles. Well, I'm going to tell you something about it. This is supposed to be the spiritual message. The Knight of Pentacles is salt of the earth. I mean, it's literal earth, and it connects to Taurus, but I don't think it's talking about a Taurus person. It could be, because we do get the Four of Pentacles. But I think what it's saying as a spiritual message is that reliability may not be sexy, but it is something that is a quality that matters in life. And so going back to that mercurial magician, if there's somebody that you're smitten with, or if this is just your type, to be, you know, when I think of the magician, maybe he does the disappearing act. And maybe you need somebody that is going to stick around for a minute, for a hot second. And the Knight of Pentacles will do that. But will you be indifferent to that type of person? Because they're too predictable, they're too dependable, and to you, you perceive that as boring. Well, isn't that dysfunctional? So dysfunctional behavior can simply be the perception that a person holds. You know, any woman out there knows that some women will say, oh, he's too nice. You know, is that messed up or what? That is a messed up thing to say. He's too nice. That's wrong. And that's somebody who probably has been abused in their life. If they look at somebody being nice to them as a liability, they don't have their head screwed on straight. So again, you know, this is all going along the same lines. Now let's look at the kind of the mundane, or what's really happening, you know, literally at the moment. We have the Four of Pentacles. And, you know, on your end of things, you may be very concerned about your financial state. You may be very, that can sometimes be somebody who has enough money, but they're just very materialistic. And it could be that you're looking at, that could be another thing that is going on too, that you're looking at a person, judging them for the wrong reasons. And maybe you're overly preoccupied with money. And I had mentioned with Scorpio's reading, like even in a divorce proceeding, about, am I going to get enough? And in your case too, you may be very like holding on to dear life, to your money, because you're afraid that it's going to be, you know, taken from you in a divorce situation. But you know, it's possible that it's possible that this is actually backwards, that I'm having this backwards, that the person who is the Taurus, maybe that is the person you're getting divorced from. And maybe the problem was that you, him, or both of you were too into money. I would say that that person was. And that person may have even been like a workaholic. And so they didn't really have time enough to be investing in you. You know, I actually did say this in a former reading, that you really have to be there for the other party. You can't work 10 hours a day and expect to have this vibrant relationship. And so maybe that's what did it in. And it might not have been that either one of you were bad people, but just that you didn't have enough time together. And maybe this Magician is either a facet of yourself that is now self-sufficient, and you feel like you don't have to be dependent on anybody for money or for, you know, anything emotionally anymore. Or this is a Gemini person, somebody with a strong Gemini signature, who really interests you intellectually, because maybe you were with an earth sign like a Taurus. The other earth signs are Virgo and Capricorn. Capricorn is another cardinal sign, so it might be a Capricorn that you were with. And you might even you may have even had a business with this person as a married couple, or somehow worked on their business, or somehow it was like combined, and that's why you're concerned about it, what's going to happen in court. But you may have worked well with them, with this person as a team when it comes to some kind of business venture, but it just wasn't there altogether. There wasn't that sense of intellectual compatibility that an air sign person needs. So I was thinking in terms of you kind of like looking for the bad boy, but it might be the other way around in some cases, that the predictable one that you were just too interested in financial security, and that's why you went with this person, and now you realize that it's just not a good fit. What's coming up? The Death card, Scorpio, that's connected to Scorpio. A necessary transition, not necessarily transition from life to death, but transition in your life, and also looking at the time of Scorpio. So there's a new moon in Scorpio on the 7th of November. Happy Diwali. And oh, you know what? I think you are getting with a Gemini, because look at who we got here. And what? This is the outcome. The Lover's card connects with Gemini. And that can mean that you are having some kind of connection, and this is obviously an intimate connection, with somebody who's got a prominent Gemini. And this person is really the one for you. I mean, there's like that sense of intimacy, that sense of deep connection. And it takes, sometimes it takes a death of a relationship in order to get what you want. And, you know, when I see 2 Pentacles flanking that Magician, it really shows me the stark contrast between one and the other. This kind of this emotional, you know, some people might look at this card and go, oh, well, this is sex. And it can be consummating a relationship, but it can be bearing your soul. And that's why they show the people naked, because they're willing to be that real with another person. So that's pretty cool. I think you'll agree. Okay, Libra, that's what I have for you. Happy birthday again, and have a great month. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Take care. Bye.